We have to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain, stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put 2 dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man to go nuts if he cash you. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Amadeus.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Amadeus.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queens.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Amadeus.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Amadeus.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
I'm
Queen.
getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Amadeus.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Amadeus.
oppression and exploitation.
Queen.
In my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't here for my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I won't always smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all in Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat.
This is the sound of QueenAShakur.
It's a cut on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans, and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X to my jeans and I got...
This is the sound of Image Fun.
All right, hello everyone. Hello. All right,
Hello,
so thanks everyone for tuning in. Okay, so let's get the likes up. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm your host, QueenAShakur, here with my friend and legal expert, Gavin Richard, Esquire. Okay, so we're going to talk about some things. So everyone, please give this video a like and a share. You know they have the Queen's shadow ban. All right. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Everyone, please also be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Okay, and also don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr._A_Shakur, TikTok at Dr. A Shakur, Twitter at DGoddess27. And as per usual, if you don't like what the Queen is cooking, you already know what to do. Okay.
as Martin would say, get the step. Hold up, get the step. Go, Tom, get the step.
Okay. Miss Hotel said Nancy Drew of journalism. All right. And I saw someone said, tell Queen we'll take care of her lightweight. #wig too. I think that was RG Titan. Okay, so thank you all. Okay, so let's get into it because me and Gavin are going to talk about some things. And I have to tell you all that we're late, actually, because I was late, not Gavin. Gavin was on time, but I mistakenly dozed off, beloveds.
I got a new nickname for you. It'll be MC Receipt Queen. Because that beat was jamming. Did you make your own beats or just somebody did that for you?
Somebody does them. Now that last song, that's someone actually did a remix to my song. Yeah, Malcolm did a remix to my song. But thank you, beloved.
Yeah, I was grooving to it. I liked it.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Okay, so now let's talk about it, Gavin. Now you're the legal expert. Let's weigh in on Jonathan Majors and tell me what you think about this case.
Sure. Well, should we do a recap? I guess what happened.
Sure, we can do that.
All right. So I don't know if you want me to do it or you want to do it.
No, go right ahead. Feel free.
Okay. Well, as many may know already, unless you've been living under a rock, because this has been big news, Jonathan Majors was convicted of. Well, let me say this: the verdict was split. He was charged with 4 different counts, I believe, with intention, domestic violence, domestic assault with intent. I believe, I can't remember the exact name of the charges, but he was convicted on 3rd-degree assault and also harassment violation. Mm-hmm. He was acquitted on the intentional use of force, essentially, but he was convicted on I believe, a 3rd-degree assault, as well as that harassment violation. So the verdict was split. And of course, the national media, the press, they ran with it. And I've been talking all about it because, as an attorney, I like to look at this stuff, and it's been worldwide news. I mean, at least from the national news, at least I should say, because Majors is a member of, or let me say, was a member of the Marvel Universe. He was Kang, the Conqueror, and we saw his variant running through New York from this white woman for 5 blocks. And yet the jury still decided that he was guilty. He actually faces a year in prison since he was convicted. He also has a protective order against him. The hearing is set for February, so there'll be a sentencing hearing. Now, what I'll say, Queen, and I actually have the article I'm sharing here with you on USA Today so everybody can see exactly what he was charged with. But he actually was facing 8 misdemeanor counts, but really it was dropped down to 4, and he was convicted only on the 2. Misdemeanors typically do not go to trial. Most of the time, especially if someone is a first offender, I have seen this many times. Attorneys will work out, their attorneys usually will work out something with the prosecutor to get it knocked all the way down, really thrown out of court, and by that, all they got to do is like pay a fine or some cost or pay for classes, and they'll dismiss the case already. There's something called in different prosecutors' offices has this. I know they got it up in New York for sure. Pretrial intervention programs where if you complete a course, After several months, they'll go ahead and dismiss it. You're basically paying the state to get rid of it, even though it's kind of a bribe, but it's not. But
Right.
it's a way, yeah, you do classes with that. Jonathan Majors, we look at it, he has never had any other trouble with the law. This was a first offense. This was something, if we all looked at the evidence and the testimony from Grace Jabari, she admitted she grabbed his phone while she was leaning on him because she accused him of infidelity. And he, in turn, is fighting with her to get his phone back. Now, this is his phone. This is his property. This is not hers. And in New York, there is a statute that allows for defense of property where you're the victim of a larceny, which is a theft. You have a right to use reasonable force to actually get that property back. Now, if he kills her or something like that after that, that's something different. Yeah, that's extreme. He was fighting and obviously getting to get his phone back, and in the process, supposedly injured her finger and she hit her head. And we saw the video of him running through, like I said, before he was running several blocks to get away from her. She was actually still holding on to his arm. He tries to put her back in the car, right? So he's trying to put her back in the Uber. And by the way, the driver testified at the trial. He stated himself that he believed that the woman, he knew that from what he saw, the woman was the one who was the aggressor. Now, this is the video that they're talking about. So he's trying to put her back in the car. And I didn't see, if you go back and I look at it just here, I don't know if she hit her head. And I don't think that certainly doesn't look like she hit her ear. But because that's where they supposedly took the picture of the injury there. But he's trying to put her back in the car, and she's still holding on to him. You see this? She's still holding on to him. He's jerking away, and he jerks, and he's running. By the way, that Creed 3 workout obviously did wonders for him because he's running in dress shoes. So she's chasing after him. And here's a dishonest thing about USA Today in the news. They say he faced 2 of the 8 counts. He was charged with 4 counts, not 8. They make it sound like he was convicted on 8 different stuff. There were 4 charges. He was convicted only on 2, and that was acting recklessly. So what they said is, the jury said, well, we don't think he intentionally meant to hurt her, but we think he recklessly did it under that 3rd-degree assault. And the problem I have with that is that if he didn't do it intentionally and you believe the woman was the aggressor, then he should have been acquitted outright because he has a right to defend himself. He had a right to his property. Now, what I saw also, and I want to talk about his attorney, Priya Chaudhary, I believe is her name. Something that was neglected at trial that the reporters have brought up is that she failed or did not disclose that statute that I was just talking about, the defense statute where she snatched the phone. She didn't bring that up in the trial. She didn't use that as a defense. And I think that that is problematic because if she had made that point to the jury, if she made that point to the court, then perhaps Jonathan Majors would be sitting at home and still waiting to get his check from Marvel. But now, of course, he's been fired from the Marvel universe. Can he appeal this? I think you have to have grounds for an appeal. Just because a verdict didn't go your way necessarily isn't grounds, but maybe the grounds that he could appeal on is when they let those text messages in, which had nothing to do with the incident that occurred that night. That might be a reason for him to appeal because the judge had originally threw it out, but they said because the defense attorney had asked Grace Jabari a question, that it opened the door to allow the prosecutors to bring this stuff in. See, that's another thing. So I don't know if Jonathan can, if he's going to argue. Some people may say, well, can he do it on ineffective assistance of counsel? But for those that don't know, cases have been overturned on appeal if there has been some type of ineffective assistance of counsel but the thing is, there's a bar that's set for it. So if the counsel was ineffective, you just got to prove not only that it was ineffective assistance, that it fell below a reasonable standard of care. You also have to show that had it not been for that negligence on the part of the attorney, you wouldn't have been convicted. So, is it possible? Yeah, anything is possible. Yeah, he could appeal it. I could certainly make a motion for a new trial. Those are steps you take. But as you know, here's the thing: going to court, going to trial is very painmaking. It's also very costly because the court reporters got to get paid. The judges, they all get paid. You know, it takes up time. Do I have time to fight all of that? It's a question that some people do, which is why that's why a lot of people plead something out. Like this could have been a disturbing the peace at best, Queen. And let's not forget also, I want to point out something. This is his house. That apartment that they share. She came back, he rented a hotel that night just to get away from her. And after she's supposedly injured, she's out partying, drinking it up, using his credit card, mind you, paying for drinks. So I say, so all of this shit, I'm upset about it because it's this whole Me Too thing. And then on top of that, you had a black prosecutor, Alvin Bragg, who basically, from all I know of intents and purposes, he's a Democratic bootleg, one of those.
Don't call him Gavin. Don't call him the C word that rhymes with boom. Okay. But that's what he is. But go ahead.
I said bootleg.
Oh, no. I was just trying to stop you in case you were thinking it. Because I was thinking it.
No. I'm not going to call him that.
Yeah.
But he's one of those Stephen A. Smith type, I guess, because he's like with prosecuting this. But he was doing that to appeal to the Me Too crowd, to the Democrats, to these women. And honestly, there was also a black woman on the jury. One black woman. And it looked like they got, in my opinion, I think they beat her down. Because everybody knew if they gave a verdict like that, it was a split verdict, which is what I kind of suspected because it was taking so long in the first place, Queen. This was going on Thursday. They deliberated for 6 hours total, but it went on Thursday and it went on Friday. And Monday. This should have been it should have been an acquittal. She wasn't, even with the so-called injuries. You could say in part she caused it to herself because who's to say when she's passed out on the floor, she didn't hit her head.
Exactly.
Scratch something. So there could have been reasonable doubt. But Jonathan Majors, I think this is a cautionary tale also for him about picking, for everybody, especially men, about picking the right partner, because this woman clearly has issues. And the fact that they allowed these text messages and this recording to come in, she was recording him in New York. Do you know that's against the law? Like if my understanding, like when you're recording conversations, when you're recording a telephone, it's my understanding you have to let the other party know. Like Louisiana is a one-party state. New York, I believe, is a two-party consent state. You have to consent to that.
And in Georgia, here it's a one-party state as well. So in New York, you have to let the other person know that you're recording them.
Right, I believe so. You have to, because I distinctly remember, and don't laugh at me, but I remember watching the People's Court. Now they may have changed it in recent times. It could have been changed. I'm sorry. So I'm looking up different. I want to make sure I get it right because I'm not. Let me be clear. Full disclosure: all of this information doesn't create an attorney-client relationship. I'm just an attorney.
No, it's actually a one-party state now. I just looked it up. Yeah, it says it's a one-party consent state.
Right. Well, they must have changed it because I remember it used to be. I thought it was two-party at one time. I remember that, but they may have changed it.
Well, here's the thing: if she was recording him, don't you think that she may have had some ulterior motive? Because if you're in a relationship with someone and they trust you enough to use their credit cards, all of that stuff, why are you recording them unbeknownst to them?
Well, yeah. Well, she did that because she was trying to get her money hustle on.
Right. That's exactly what it was. It's exactly what it was, in my opinion.
Right. So it is a one-party state. My mistake. So yeah, they changed it because I remember it used to be two-party at one time. So they must have changed it. Someone said they did. I believe California is is let's see, is
Well,
all the parties have to be, and Philadelphia, because Pennsylvania. Remember what happened with Bill Cosby? The mother was recording her conversation with him. She was in Canada. He was in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is a two-party state, so it's out. Just there are similarities with that case in this.
and then I read somewhere that she was given immunity anyway to
Right.
testify
Well, that's
against
another
him.
thing. She was actually charged with domestic assault herself
Mm-hmm.
because she put her hands on him. The prosecutors, and this is why voting for DA is very important. The prosecutors said we're not going to charge her. They didn't want to pursue. They null-prossed it, basically saying we're not going to press charges on her. We want to testify. Jonathan Majors was a big star, a rising star. So you get a conviction of a prosecutor, and Alvin Bragg isn't the prosecutor that's actually on the case, but Alvin Bragg's office, of course, is behind it. But you have any of these young prosecutors waiting to get a conviction on a star like a Jonathan Majors. That's big for their reputation. And that was the point of all of this. This was something that should have never, like I said, shouldn't have gone to trial. It should have been worked out where both parties, here's how I would have accepted it. If they had charged them both and prosecuted them with like a disturbing the peace or something like that, that's fine. Okay, maybe I can live with that. Her not being prosecuted for her own fault for doing stuff to him is a problem for me. It is a combination, I think, of racism. Well, I know it's a combination of racism, also Me Too, feminism. I think that the jury, especially being that they were all white, that has a factor with that. And Jonathan Majors being this big black masculine man. Anytime you have a white woman going to a hospital and you are the husband or boyfriend, you got a problem.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Now, let's talk about it because Jonathan Majors was found guilty and he immediately lost everything. They start talking about, okay, Marvel Studios has fired him. He lost endorsements and all of this. And he's likely going to appeal, but I don't think that's going to matter. But what about Ezra Miller? Let's talk about him. Ezra Miller, who played Flash. Because I find it all very interesting because let's talk about a timeline. Ezra Miller's Reign of Terror, a timeline of the Flash star's many controversies. Okay, so let's get into it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go down to where it starts. So they say in April of 2020, Miller is seen in a viral video choking and throwing an unnamed woman to the ground at a bar in Reykjavik, Iceland, saying, "Oh, you want to fight? That's what you want to do?" Now, this is what he told the female. Now, the woman later spoke to Variety, saying that she believed that they were having a playful, joking interaction when he abruptly just snapped. She says all of a sudden that he was on top of me, choking me, still screaming in my face if I want to fight. My friend who's filming sees he's obviously not joking and it's actually serious. So he stops filming and pushes him off of me as he's still trying to fight me. Two guy friends of mine are actually holding Miller back as they're screaming, "This is what you wanted. This is what you wanted." Or as he's screaming, "This is what you wanted. This is what you wanted." I mean, it just sounds crazy. But hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the bar staff allegedly acknowledged that other fans of the actor had been quite pushy when approaching the star, but an agitated Miller escalated the situation to the point of where they were escorted from the bar. At the time, Miller was holed up at an Airbnb in Iceland because filming for Fantastic Beasts, The Secrets of Dumbledore, was on hold due to the Stupid 19 restrictions. Now, the rented space became a sort of commune for Miller's friends, local artists, and spiritual confidants, according to Business Insider's report, where sources claim that the group was almost hypnotized and afraid of the actor's frequent outbursts and rants. A then 18-year-old woman says she began a brief sexual relationship with the then 27-year-old during their time in Iceland, claiming that Miller was super manipulative. Now, Miller posted a bizarre video directed at Ku Klux Klan members of a North Carolina chapter while flashing a flash signet ring, suggesting the members should delete themselves with your own guns. Otherwise, we'll do it for you if that's what you want. The seemingly, I have to go in, I have to agree with them on that, but let me continue. The seemingly unprompted video was captioned, please disseminate this video to all those whom it may concern. This is not a joke, and even though I do recognize myself to be a clown, please trust me and take this seriously. Let's save some lives. Now, okay, babies, love you. Like, whoa. Okay, so let me go on because clearly there's more.
Guy's a psycho.
It sounds like it. All right, so now February of 2022, a woman identified by her first name, Nadia, came forward to Variety to claim that Miller had harassed her during a heated incident at her Berlin apartment, voicing fears that Miller could somehow attack me physically, she says, during the confrontation. She says, I totally felt unsafe. Now, the woman said the pair's pleasant 2-year friendship took a turn when she told Miller they couldn't smoke inside the apartment. That's what set him off. Okay. I asked him to leave about 20 minutes, maybe more. He started insulting me. I'm a transphobic piece of shite. I'm a Nazi. They were going around my house looking at everything, touching everything, spreading tobacco leaves all over the floor. Now then, in March of 2022, reports emerged that Miller was staying in Hawaii, terrorizing the community of Hilo with a string of arrests for disorderly conduct and harassment. Officials said Miller was the subject of at least 10 police phone calls that month over minor disturbances, such as filming people at a gas station, refusing to move from outside a restaurant, and arguing with strangers. One of the major incidents occurred at a local bar, a local karaoke bar on March the 29th, where Miller allegedly started yelling obscenities and became agitated when a couple began singing Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper's Shallow at a karaoke bar. Now, Miller was accused of snatching the microphone away from the woman mid-song and later lunging at a man playing darts, according to the police. And he was charged with disorderly conduct and harassment. Okay, Miller was released on a $500 bail. But wait, there's more. Later that night, police were called to remove Miller from the property. They were called to remove him from the property the actor was staying at over another disturbance. According to an application for a temporary restraining order, which later was granted, Miller had an outburst in a couple's bedroom and threatened them, saying, I will bury you and your slut's wife. Miller also allegedly stole the woman's passport and the man's wallet containing credit cards and important documents. This man sounds crazy. This man clearly sounds crazy, not to mention nefarious. But hold on, let me continue. Then in April the 6th of 2022, Warner Brothers and DC executives had an emergency meeting over Miller and the future of The Flash in light of their arrest. So they say the decision was to halt any future projects with Miller, meaning no surprise cameos in other DC Extended Universe films for the time being. A well-placed source told Rolling Stone that Miller had frequent meltdowns while filming The Flash. And Ezra would get a thought in, he would get a thought in their head, or he would get a thought in his head and say, I don't know what I'm doing. This man has mental issues, is what it sounds like. It just sounds like he's kind of crazy. Now, April the 19th of 2022. Sounds
like a spoiled rich white kid.
Perhaps, yes. Now, once again, in April 19th of 2022, Miller was arrested in Hawaii. This time charged with second-degree assault for allegedly throwing a chair at a 26-year-old woman, leaving her with a half-inch gash in her forehead. April the 23rd of 2022, a TikTok began circulating from a person by the name of Mia Solange, who uses they, them pronouns. Solange indicated that they were in a romantic relationship with Miller, posted a series of photos of the pair, believed to have been taken in 2019. She says, you took everything from me. That's what was captioned on the photo. Ezra Miller is not a good human, and I can finally say so without being terrified. Hashtag abuser. As the video climbed to more than 3 million views, Solange suddenly deleted the video and made her social media accounts private. Now then, May the 16th of 2022, music producer Oliver Ignatius and rapper Gahis Guevara claimed to the Rolling Stones that Miller stole music they had worked on together, posting it on SoundCloud with no credit to either artist. Ignatius, who lives in Vermont and had been a longtime friend of Miller, said the actor's actions were extremely unethical and hurtful, saying the person I thought I knew was a much better and gentler soul than the person that we're seeing now. It's been a very concerning journey. Maybe he's taking illegal substances, but hold on, because there's clearly more. Early June of 2022, the concerned parents of Gibson Iron Eyes, a notable Standing Rock activist, accused Miller of grooming and controlling the then 18-year-old. Miller had met Gibson, who uses they, them pronouns and also goes by the name Tokata, when the activist was 12 years old, maintaining a close friendship that consisted of visits to London and New York City. However, Gibson's parents, Chase Iron Eyes and Sarah Jumping Eagle, claimed in an application for a protective order on behalf of their child that Miller had lured the teen away from their family. Ezra uses violence, intimidation, threats of violence, fear, paranoia, delusions, and drugs to hold sway over a young adolescent, Tokata. This is what was in the court reports. Now they say, among their concerns, Gibson's parents claimed that Miller had convinced the teen to drop out of Bard College in December of 2021 and to come travel and live with him or them. So these are his pronouns, I guess. Had taken control of Gibson's personal belongings, including their cell phone, ID, and passport. And in January of 2022, had given Gibson a dose of LCD that led to them having a bad trip and being hospitalized for mental concerns. Now, Gibson is not only having mental health issues, but there's a predator taking advantage of them at the same time. Jumping Eagle told this information to Rolling Stone, saying they're basically in a mini R. Kelly situation. It really reminds me of that, how they're isolating people, distancing them from their families and friends. However, Gibson denied that they were a victim and blasted their parents' claims and concerns, saying that Miller had only provided loving support and invaluable protection during a troubling time in their life. Saying, I am now aware of the severity of emotional and psychological manipulation I was made to endure while in my parents' home. And so then June 16th of 2022, this is a long laundry list. Pay attention.
I think
this is a long, honey. I can go on and on because clearly he's been nefarious.
Right. I'm looking at this too. He had a burglary charge in August of 2022 in Vermont. From what the police reported, it was indicated there was a theft of bottles of alcohol from a private home, and Miller was identified from the surveillance footage to the police. So he actually ended up pleading guilty to trespassing, leading to burglary and petty larceny, and he pled guilty to trespassing, but the burglary and larceny charges were dropped. So that's what happens with these plea deals. That's what I was mentioning earlier, Queen.
Mm-hmm,
and I have it attached. And if y'all want, I have it shared with you via Wikipedia. Yeah, it was burglary because if you break into somebody's house without their permission, you go in somebody's house without permission, that's burglary. Yeah. And you go in there for the purposes of stealing something and so forth, which typically that's a felony. But that was dropped. They filmed, The Flash came out this year. So I can't even say, you can't blame COVID necessarily for the reason, well, he had already started filming this stuff. Filming can take place over a period, at least, I'll just say, especially on a big thing like that, they start working on these things years in advance.
Mm-hmm.
You got to write the script. You also have to draw the storyboards for the artists, the special effects designers and so forth, what something is going to look like. And obviously, they looked out for this man. They dropped these charges. The prosecutors, they reached an agreement. But yeah, he's a menace. And I know what you're mentioning with comparing that with Jonathan Majors. I want to point out, just going back to Jonathan, one more thing, because someone asked me, can Jonathan sue her? What actually is going to happen? I mean, you can sue anybody, but it would likely be thrown out because he has that conviction on him. All they have to do, her attorneys, because she has her attorneys, if I'm not mistaken, is take a copy of the minutes from the court and file a lawsuit against Jonathan, any type of company he has, and so forth, his insurance company, so that they can actually get money from him. She's going to file a suit for battery and assault. I believe that's going to happen because that's what they do. They go after you. They screw you over and then they want to fuck you over some more. Excuse my French. But that's what happened with this man. So, yeah, to answer your question. But Ezra Miller, comparing it with Jonathan Majors, is different strokes for different folks, different strokes.
Mm-hmm.
And especially when they white folks, they will look out for their own. They always give them a slap on the wrist or nothing at all. Jonathan, this was a first offense, but Ezra Miller has multiple charges.
Numerous.
Let's not just forget also, let's keep it, that's DC. Now, you do know, I don't know if you watched the movies, Queen, but the DC universe, they're revamping everything. So the Flash and they got the new Aquaman out. That's the last of the DC universe, the film universe, which is not done very good in terms of movies. So I don't believe he's necessarily coming back. But do I think he's going to still continue working? Yeah, he probably will be able to make millions of dollars. Jonathan, on the other hand, he was set to be the star of the Avengers is a big thing.
Yeah. And
Jonathan has lost hundreds of millions of dollars. As I don't know what his contract was, but I'm sure the more films he would have done, he would have been able to argue for a bigger paycheck after each one. Because I believe he was only paid like $800,000 for doing these films so far, starting off. But when you have a sequel and you're the main villain, then that means you can argue for millions of dollars, more money, because this is the phase 5, I believe, of Marvel. And their films, by the way, Queen, I don't know if you noticed, the Marvel films have been flopping as of late. The last Marvel's film that came out with not Samuel, but the 3 women, the 3 female leads, the Marvels, that's underperformed. So they've been losing money. Disney's been losing money right now. And my thinking, this is just me thinking, what if they didn't feel like paying Jonathan all of this money for doing something, and now they have a reason to fire him? Did this because Grace Jabari worked on the set of the Ant-Man film that they were part of.
Right. That's where they met, supposedly.
She's a dancer. She was also in Mission Impossible. She was in the last Mission Impossible film. So, yeah, my thinking, I could be wrong, but the game is played at a higher level.
So,
yeah.
So now let me ask you this. With that all being said, she may possibly come after him with a civil suit, like you said. But what do you think about the Amber Heard situation? Because remember, Amber Heard lied on Johnny Depp, was admitted that she hit him. There was a recording and all of that. But then she was still going to be in the Aquaman movie, the sequel, I believe it was. But they only fired her because she didn't have chemistry with Momoa. They didn't fire her because she got convicted or any of those things, because she lied and was abusive. So it clearly shows.
No, she's in this movie. The one that just came out today, she's in it.
Okay, right. But she's not going to be in the next one, I guess, because they said that she was, they got rid of her because she didn't have chemistry with Momoa.
Okay.
So I guess she won't be in any future ones. But, the fact that she's in it even after she's an abuser, like, that's just crazy to me. So that just goes to show that this is all about racism, as far as I'm concerned.
In the Netflix movie, the Netflix movie that came out in 2021 with Batista. It was a zombie movie.
Mhm.
And it's on the tip of my tongue. I'm sorry, but the point I was making, there was an actor who got fired. He had finished all of his scenes
Mhm.
working on this film. It was working on the movie with Batista. It was called. Hold on, I want to pull it up. Somebody knows it for me.
I'm looking it up right
Army
now.
of the Dead. That's it. Army of
Okay.
the Dead. They
Mhm.
actually had a guy, Tig Notaro, who's a lesbian woman and she's a comedian, by the way. She replaced Chris D'Elia. Chris D'Elia was a stand-up comedian. He got accused of sexual abuse, and he had already finished filming his scenes, but they actually fired him from the movie and replaced him. And she came in, and they used CGI to replace him.
Mm.
Point I'm making with that is that if they wanted to get rid of Amber Heard and keep her out of the Aquaman film, they could have cut her. They could have cut her automatically.
Mhm.
Same thing if they wanted to replace Ezra Miller. He was a lead character. Maybe it would have been a little bit harder. But if they wanted to scrap it and start anew, because look, they canceled the Batwoman movie at DC. They actually just said, you know what? We filmed it, we screened it. We don't think it's going to be good. I'm not going to even play this. It's canceled. So the movie is sitting in Warner Brothers vault right now. Whole canceled movie that they paid millions of dollars for, but they're going to get a tax write-off on it.
Right.
So but they can replace people. So they replaced him from this film. They replaced him from that movie using CGI. So they can do
Mhm.
that.
Wow. So it looks like Jonathan Majors. This is just my opinion. I don't know for certain, but Jonathan Majors is likely gonna, from this point on, even if he appeals. Now, even if he appeals and wins, you still think that his career is dead and that he'll likely be in B-list movies? That's what I'm thinking. But what do you
To Be
think about
King.
that?
He'll be in the To Be King. You've heard of
Oh,
Tulsa King? He'll be To Be King.
yeah, that's what I'm
I think
thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
my
Yeah,
thinking
sad.
is, yeah, well, I think he will still be working. I don't think he will get the payday he was hoping with Marvel because that was a lot of money. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
he'll probably find work doing Spike Lee movies. He'll probably find work doing some TV shows or something. But remember this: he had he had a lot going on for him. He actually had ads with the military, the army,
Yeah,
that
they pulled all of that.
they pulled that. He had
Mm.
another film that had gotten outstanding reviews. I think they pulled that. So it's just hard. It's going to be tough for a while for him. But black men, unfortunately, and we know this, the rules are always different for us versus them. And I really wish that he actually, I wish he would just stayed away from that woman.
I wish she had too, honey, but it's
Why-
too little and too
That's why a
late.
lot of men are not, a lot of men are not getting married. A lot of men are not getting or staying single just because they want their peace.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I was thinking too? I was thinking that the tweets or the text that she was upset about, I was thinking those were likely from Megan Good because they got together real quick after that. And that's probably another reason why Megan stood beside him during this whole ordeal. That's just what I'm thinking. I'm speculating. But at the end of the day, it's just all sad to see because this absolutely could have been prevented. And I don't think that the case ever should have gone to trial either. I mean, third degree misdemeanor, that's really crazy as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, having all the media press around for that. Yeah.
So let's talk about Vin Diesel and these charges, no less. These allegations, shall I say. What do you think of it all?
Well, shall we tell everybody the facts and circumstances about what's going on with Vin Diesel? Because I don't know if they know about the lawsuit that's been filed.
Yes, I showed I think I showed them my TikTok yesterday. Hold on, let me just pull it up real quick. And more people getting called out on different types of things.
I got to step out for 1 second, Queen.
Okay, all right, beloved.
Refresh everybody.
Okay. I'm going to share my TikTok. Everyone, please get the likes up. Please don't forget to like and share. Okay, here we go. For those of you who missed it. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Shakur. Well, now Vin Diesel has been added to the list of the accused. Let's get into it. The Fast and Furious star Vin Diesel has been accused of battery by his former assistant, Asta Jonasson. She says this occurred in September of 2010 during the production of Fast 5 in Atlanta. Please pay attention. Jonasson alleges that Vin Diesel did this to her at the St. Regis Hotel after he invited hostesses back from a club. She says that he grabbed her by the wrist and pulled her onto the bed, despite her asking him to stop. Jonasson says that she was afraid to more forcibly refuse Diesel, knowing that her getting him out of the room was crucial to her own safety and her job security. She says that hope was lost when he dropped to his knees, lifted her dress above her waist, and then began rubbing his hands all over her inner thighs and legs. The lawsuit adds that Jonasson screamed and ran, but Vin Diesel allegedly grabbed her and pinned her against the wall and then placed her hand on his cucumber and then began to choke his chicken, if you catch my drift. And she said that she just sat there and closed her eyes and she was terrified and she tried to just disassociate from the SA and basically tried not to anger him. Now, Jonasson, who had just graduated film school and had only been working for Diesel for less than 2 weeks, she says that just hours after the assault happened, that his sister, Samantha Vincent, who's also the president of his production company known as One Race, called her and told her that she was fired. Jonasson said that she was fired because she was no longer useful and that Diesel had used her to fulfill his own desires. Jonasson says that she had signed a non-disclosure agreement as soon as she began her employment at the production company owned by Diesel, known as One Race. But due to the Speak Out Act, they're not allowed to enforce a non-disclosure that has anything to do with SA or any type of harassment. So Jonasson then filed the lawsuit. Now, in addition to her allegations against Vin Diesel, she also says that another supervisor also propositioned her in a hotel and that there were a myriad of other types of discriminatory practices going on. She claims that she has suffered humiliation, emotional distress, mental and physical pain and anguish from the alleged assault that occurred. And, this is all getting real crazy. All of these allegations continue to fester. More and more people are coming out. So with that all being said, who knows where this is all going to end and who else is going to be accused by the time we get to the end of this laundry list of nefariousness. Okay, so now let's talk about his response, because here's what they say, updated. Now, they say that Diesel has publicly responded to the lawsuit denying the allegations. A statement released by his attorney, Brian Friedman, reads, "Let me be very clear. Vin Diesel categorically denies this claim in its entirety. This is the first he ever has heard about this This is the first he's ever heard about this more than 13-year-old claim made by a purportedly 9-day employee. There is clear evidence which completely refutes the outlandish allegations." Okay, so they say they have evidence to refute these outlandish allegations. I just find it also interesting. So many people are just getting called out. I'm starting to lose track. Okay, at this point. Now, the lady that said the things about Gavin's laughing. The lady that said those things about Jamie Foxx absolutely sounded so crazy to me. I didn't believe a word of it. She said that after he groped her and all this, that, and third, and put his hands down her shirt and pants and all that, she's disabled now. She says she's disabled. She says she's disabled. She has a myriad of trauma and just all kinds of stuff. It all sounded so crazy to me. Now, clearly, some of these people
can't walk anymore.
Okay. Now, clearly, some of these people are out to get bags and all of that. So please make it all make sense. So my thing is, Gavin, what do you think about this latest accusation against Vin Diesel? And let's not say any inappropriate words, Gavin. Let's just remember not to say any inappropriate words. But continue.
I'll use the abbreviated form. I think it's BS.
Mm-hmm.
Vin Diesel, no police report, no medical report. This was, from 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, It seems like a person that's spoiled or upset over their firing. Um, I don't. And look, I get that there is harassment in the workplace that happens. Yes, Hollywood is very loose with that, but here my only thing is that a lawsuit is being filed. There are no criminal charges against Vin Diesel for assault of any kind uh,
Mm-hmm.
in this matter. So he's innocent till proven guilty. It seems like, especially with these, and this is why I was cautioning everybody. I've been cautioning people with this movement that they have with these, not just with Me Too, but the look back statutes that they have now. This should be and would have been thrown out of court automatically if it had not had these laws. Because number one, it's outside the statute of limitations. We're talking about 13 years ago. She filed this only this week. I believe the state that was she filed this in California. This law that they actually passed is set to expire, if I'm not mistaken,
In January, I believe.
in January. Well, I thought I saw one that said it was in 2026 when the next one was when it was.
Oh, okay. That could be correct.
But it's very dangerous because and it's also going to clog up the court system because in New York when we talked about that Survivors Act, when we're talking about Diddy and Jamie Foxx and Bill Cosby and others, you had thousands of lawsuits that were filed in 1 year alone before the deadline passed. So now you're talking about something that's going to be clogged up, and we're going to go back 13 years ago looking at this stuff, no evidence, no police report, nothing. We got to start pushing back against stuff like this.
Well, here's my thing, Gavin. What I thought interesting was, okay, 10 years of event or within 3 years since the discovery of the injury or illness. Okay, so I was just reading something about the law. So here's the thing that I thought was interesting. She also claimed that there was another person who worked there. I think it was a producer or someone that she said also hit on her. They invited her to the hotel and then asked her to get in the bed or something like that. Hold on, let me find that because I thought that was interesting that she didn't file anything against them. Why is she only filing against Vin Diesel?
Because,
if that is,
I'm going to tell you why. He's got the most money. He has he has the production company. She has the production company. It's the same thing with Cassie with her lawsuit when she sued. She didn't just sue Diddy. She sued Sony. She sued Bad Boy. She sued the insurance company. So it triggered what's called comparative liability because employer-employee under the statutes in New York, you have basically workplace environment and so forth, making a safe environment, no sexual harassment. So that triggered that in that lawsuit where the insurance companies settled that case. And I think what they're trying to do now, she's trying to do in this case with Vin Diesel, because she also sued his company, if I'm not mistaken, that's mentioned in it. They are trying to trigger a settlement from the insurance company because insurance companies can settle cases for X amount of dollars, and they don't need the permission of their insurer to actually go against it. An insurance company is not like an attorney, where an attorney has to get permission from his client to settle a case. They can actually settle it for him, and that happened even with Michael Jackson. That also happened with Bill Cosby with Janice Dickinson. Yeah.
Okay, so here's what it says. In the suit, she claimed that Vin Diesel forcibly grabbed her, groped her, and kissed her and all of this stuff. Okay, so let's go down some. Then Diesel's representatives did not immediately respond to requests for comment. So her attorneys say, we are proud to represent Ms. Jonasson and hold accountable Vin Diesel and those who allowed and covered up his sexual assault. This is what Claire Lees Cotley of Greenberg Gross told Fox News Digital. They say the law exists to protect those who have been wronged, no matter how powerful or famous the defendant is. Sexual assault, harassment in the workplace will never stop if powerful men are protected from accountability. Now, Jonasson claimed to be hired by One Race Production in September of 2010 as an assistant working directly with the Fast and Furious star. Her first assignment was working on the Fast Five film, where she organized parties and catering for Diesel. One job requirement included staying in close physical proximity to Vin Diesel when he was at parties without his longtime girlfriend with whom he had children, because, as he explained, it would provide him with cover if he was photographed with another woman. Now, Jonathan claimed to be fulfilling her work duties one night and ensuring no photographs were taken of Vin Diesel, who was entertaining multiple women in the Empire Suite of his luxury hotel, which the alleged when the alleged assault occurred. After the last woman left the suite, she alleges that Vin Diesel forcibly grabbed her, groped her breastises, and kissed her. Now, at one point, Jonathan claimed that Diesel pinned her against the wall with his body and grabbed her and all of that. Okay, she alleged that he ignored her pleas and then began to, I'm not even going to get into all that because we already heard it in my TikTok. Now, hours after the alleged assault, Jonathan claimed that Samantha Vincent, president of One Race and Vin Diesel's sister, called her and let her know that she was fired. Now, she then went on to say, hold on. Okay, yeah, so she said that she was fired, and the message was clear. Miss Jonathan was fired for courageously resisting Vin Diesel's advances, and basically saying that it was covered up. She's seeking damages for loss of wages, emotional distress, in addition to punitive and exemplary damages in an amount sufficient to punish defendants and to make an example and deter defendants from engaging in such conduct in the future, is what she says. So, yeah, I find it all very interesting, because I wonder as well, if it was so serious, why didn't she file any type of criminal charges?
Yeah, no criminal charges, no police report, no medical report. The fist is furious. Yeah, like I said before, I think all of this is a cash grab, and I want to point out something interesting. So she worked with him for only 2 weeks and was fired after that, or less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, she had actually only been working for 9 days, because she had just recently graduated film school when she got the job. And so, yeah, she had not been there for a lengthy amount of time.
So why she didn't file a suit then?
A good question.
If it was a wrong, because if you were sexually harassed at work, you got wrongful termination as well. So it was retaliatory. That
yes,
she could have filed it in federal court.
Yeah, she did mention, in addition to the accusations against Diesel, Jonathan claimed that at his production company, One Race, another supervisor propositioned her in a hotel room during her employment. Allegations of discrimination on the basis of sex, gender, intentional infliction of emotional distress, hostile work environment, wrongful termination, and retaliation are additional claims in the lawsuit. She alleges that she suffered humiliation, emotional distress, mental and physical pain and anguish from the alleged assault and her tenure at One Race. Yeah, so like I said, doesn't say that she's suing that other person.
So she's not suing the producer, but she's suing Vin Diesel.
Let me make sure I'm reading this accurately to see if she's and here's another thing. It said that there was she had signed a non-disclosure agreement, but like I told people weeks ago, the non-disclosure agreement is null and void if a crime is committed. And it says here, however, due to the Speak Out Act, which prevents the enforcement of non-disclosure agreements in instances of sexual assault and harassment, Jonathan is filing the lawsuit.
But she could have filed it even if she had signed a non-disclosure agreement. If a crime was committed, even back then, that supersedes an NDA. If a crime was committed, you could still, she could have still filed criminal charges against him. You're not stopped from filing just because you signed an NDA. If there was a criminal act that was committed against her, she could have filed, again, a police report, a complaint with the police, and they could have investigated it. And if they found what she was saying was true and they had probable cause, Vin Diesel could have been arrested. I think the supposed incident happened in Georgia.
Yeah, it did happen in Georgia. And the thing is, the way this is written up, I can't really be sure if she actually filed included the other person, because it says, in addition to the accusations against Diesel, Jonathan claimed that at his production company One Race, another supervisor propositioned Jonathan in a hotel room during her employment. And then it goes on to talk about the allegations and retaliation and all that stuff are additional claims in the lawsuit. But it does not say that this another supervisor, the proposition, it doesn't say that person's name or that they were listed. So I'm inclined to think that she did not include them in the lawsuit. So okay. I find that very interesting.
So she didn't include them in the lawsuit. So what basically happened is she sued Vin Diesel. I'm telling y'all what it is. Mm-hmm. She sued Vin Diesel because he has a bigger name and he's got the production company, and they want to trigger a lawsuit. Whoever the attorneys are that are doing this, they are on that money hustle gag, just like Gloria Allred usually does. When she goes and does these press conferences with these women from out of nowhere, and have them there, and so she can get she wins her, and she's never even found out knowledge. She hasn't even tried a case in her life, probably.
That's right. Everything's always settled.
She doesn't try a case. No, most cases get settled anyway, but she's never been in. My understanding from people that know her out in Los Angeles, like I talked to Judge Joe Brown and Tom Ezra before, like she's never been in a courtroom. She gets these press conferences going and tries to win them in public media, in the court of public opinion, so she can actually trigger a settlement. Now, what I see with this, and I see the same thing with this, because this woman is suing Vin Diesel and his production company, and she basically is trying to get and trigger her attorneys to try and trigger a settlement from the insurance company. So she's suing his company is One Race Films. By the way, Vin Diesel owns the Riddick franchise. He owns that outright. Mm-hmm. He doesn't own, I don't think he owns Fast and Furious, but the Riddick series, the Riddick Chronicles, they had those movies. They didn't think it was going to be a big hit, so he negotiated with the studios, I guess, ownership of it, and you can pay me like that, and the films have actually were very lucrative. Mm-hmm. So you sue him, obviously you take what his net worth is, I'm not sure, but you sue the insurance company, you sue the production company. His lawyers don't have a say necessarily if the insurance company were to settle this. So that's what I think this is going to happen with this, what she's trying to do with this case. And I want to share with you right quick too, Queen. If you look up the case, Matt Araiza, who was a football player for the Buffalo Bills, he was on their practice squad back in 2022. He had a situation where he got kicked off the team because he was accused of, I'm not going to say the word for you, but he was accused of rape. With multiple individuals.
Just like John Roethlisberger, isn't that his name? Or Jeff
Roethlisberger?
Right, Ben Roethlisberger, right.
Well, in this case, Roethlisberger was before him, but
right, yeah, I know, but it was twice though. He was accused twice, I do believe.
He was, but Araiza was actually accused with a group of people, and it turned out the case was not true. The charges against him were never filed because they found evidence that the woman lied. The girl lied about her age and had admitted she had consensual stuff done, but they dropped the charges. But at any rate, because he got arrested, the team kicked him off. He lost his career. He filed a lawsuit against her. According to what I'm reading here, they both actually dropped their respective lawsuits against each other. But now, do you know he's suing her attorney for defamation?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Smart move. I see it right here. Yeah. Last August, this was in, let me see. This article came out December the 12th of 2023. Okay, so just days ago. Okay, so it says, former NFL punter Matt Araiza, his civil lawsuit accusing him of the R word has been dropped. In exchange for the suit being dismissed, Ezra, am I saying his name right? Araiza? Arazia will dismiss his defamation claim against his accuser. Now, Arazia reserves the right to sue the accuser's attorney, which he has previously vowed to do. Last August, Arazia was one of 3 San Diego State football players named in a civil lawsuit accusing the men of gang R-wording a 17-year-old at a house party. While Arazia maintained his innocence, the Bills released the rookie punter, with general manager Brandon Beane stating that this was bigger than football. Now, in December of 2022, it was reported that Arazia would not be charged with any crime. This past spring, Yahoo Sports acquired a transcript of the meeting with a deputy district attorney, the alleged victim and her attorneys, which revealed that Arazia was not present in the home when the alleged incident occurred. Now, nicknamed Punt God, Arazia was a 6th-round pick of the Buffalo Bills last year, and he beat out veteran Matt Hack of the job in the preseason. Now, in his final season at San Diego State, Arazia averaged 51.19 yards per punt, which broke an NCAA record. On punts in between the 30s in 2021, Arazia put 63% inside the 20-yard line and 27% inside the 10, with an average field position at the 16-yard line. Now, in Buffalo's, I'm going to skip all of that. Okay, so anyway, they say this man wasn't even there.
Right. He wasn't even there.
This is all crazy. And so he still was fired.
He was still fired.
Now, what do you think about bringing this up? That reminds me of Josh Giddey. Now, you've heard what they said about Josh Giddey and that minor, and they were saying that he supposedly was messing around with this underage girl and all of this stuff. And then basically the parents and her and her family are not cooperating with the investigation or something like that. And they hired Gloria Allred as well. Yeah, that's what it all starting to look like. But here's the thing. They haven't suspended him or anything. He's still playing. And so even though, here's the thing, I think Josh Giddey is guilty. I'm sorry. I saw the messages. There was text messages or a message in a group chat where he supposedly was telling numerous girls to go out and find him some other girls. And then he asked something about, I showed this on live weeks ago. And so they asked him, or he asked them, he said, she's 19, right? You think you could find somebody younger? Now, if those are his messages, that clearly sounds like he did it, as far as I'm concerned. I just thought it was all very interesting how they were basically saying that this isn't about the team, this is about the NBA. Basically, like the team doesn't get to decide if he's suspended or fired or whatever. That's for the NBA to do. That's what they said. Adam Silver said that.
We got to be careful. We got to say alleged because we don't know for sure. Just
no, I just said that's what I believe.
You believe? Okay, well, you'd be fine if you say if that's what you believe. If you say
I believe that's what it is.
Problem, but
absolutely. I always cover my tracks.
Yeah, Stephen Head Smith, I should call him because he's got a head like Bozo the Clown, and the other woman that looked like Rihanna, Malika Andrews. Mm-hmm. They have been notorious, especially on ESPN, for going at black men in particular. And I'll never forget Stephen A. Smith when Kevin Porter Jr., a basketball player from Houston, he was fired because he allegedly assaulted his ex-girlfriend, who's a WNBA player. Mm-hmm. And they were talking, and even her own sister was going in on him. Oh, he did that. He lucky I don't show up to the room. All this stuff. And Stephen A. Smith was like, he needs to be thrown under the jail. Do you know that she actually has stated that none of that happened? The woman said she released a statement trying to get the prosecutors to drop the charges. And the prosecutor dropped one of them because I think he had several charges against him, but he dropped one of them because she had already had like a defect. But they tried to say he broke her neck, which he says, no, none of that happened. Why y'all saying this stuff? Same thing with Vaughn Miller. Vaughn Miller got accused of domestic abuse battery, and all them Negroes on ESPN in on it. Well, he was like, well, we don't know what happened, but you don't put your hands on the woman under no circumstance. You don't put your hands on a woman. We saw Dana White slap his wife. We saw the general manager, although she slapped him first though too. The general manager of the San Francisco Giants threw his wife out of a chair. They didn't mention none of that, but all they talked about all they talk about is what black people are doing, allegedly.
Mhm.
And they don't give them the benefit of the doubt. Like Malika Andrews, you mentioned, this is this man who got drafted, who was found innocent of any wrongdoing out in Alabama. This is his night, and you want to mention him being investigated on a murder? Like, she brought that up, and even the white anchor, the white commentators looked at her like, "What are you doing?" But
Oh, so crazy.
But Stephen A. Smith, that's the THNIC.
Yeah, exactly.
ESPN, yeah, and they about to get rid of him.
Good. I can't wait. So yeah, it's all crazy. Also, what was the young man's name a few years ago? I want to say back in maybe 2017 or 18, or 19, somewhere around there. The black football player named Raheem somebody, or Raheem. He pushed the girl out of the hotel room because she was too young, and she fell on the floor. He wouldn't let her in. She was trying to be insistent upon getting into the hotel room, and he wouldn't let her in because I think she was like 17 or something like that. And when he pushed her out, because she was being combative with him, and then she fell, and then
Kareem Hunt.
Right.
That's Kareem Hunt. Yeah.
Right,
so
that's him.
Browns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what about him?
Yeah, so didn't he get fired? What happened with him?
What happened was, supposedly he had what they're saying is that TMZ had released a video of him in an altercation with that girl in the hotel after she made a racial slur, and they put him on the exempt list. The commissioner's exempt list basically keeps you from practicing or playing with your team. Mm-hmm. And then the Chiefs fired him. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's on us. Yeah.
They said, well, and the CEO, Clark Hunt, released a statement saying that the reason they released him was because they felt he wasn't truthful when the Chiefs asked about the incident. So he actually was out. Kansas City fired him, and he ended up joining Cleveland. So that's where he is now.
Okay. Well, that's good. Yeah, this is also interesting. So a lot of these things I think are absolutely money grabs, and that some people are just, coming out with all these stories and just saying stuff. Some of the stories don't make sense. But the thing is, these people are getting away with it when they don't even have receipts in many of the cases. They don't even have proof that these things happen. They're just saying these things. Now, that's what I find very interesting. That, okay, it's your word against mine. And then so everybody's just supposed to believe them when they're saying these things.
Yeah.
And also, even in some cases where there's witnesses, like within Jonathan Majors' case. Now, the driver even said that she was the aggressor. And I remember when it first happened, there were other people that witnessed it as well, that I guess they were somewhere in the vicinity. They also said that she was the aggressor. And they clearly see this man fleeing from her down the street and still find him guilty. And if he didn't do it on purpose, how do you find him guilty? Even if he did injure her, but not on purpose, how is he guilty? My whole thing is, I don't think he injured her at all. I think she did hurt herself. I said this when it first happened, because first of all, she didn't call the police until the next morning, like after 11 o'clock the next morning. What did she have to do? Sleep on it? I thought it was crazy. And they said the police allegedly were coaching her. That's what was in the earlier reports, that the police were coaching her.
Well, if that is true, if they did anything like that, then he definitely can. If it's found out that they were coaching her and it didn't come up at the trial, or if they asked a question about it and the cops lied, I wasn't in the courtroom. I don't know all of the witnesses per se, but that definitely is a grounds for an appeal. Certainly, if they did anything like that to coerce a victim to testify, or a witness, I should say, to testify and say something like that, and say she was coerced. I mean, look, they're overturning these already, Queen. We've seen them overturn cases where we find out a guy was accused of murder, and then 30 years later we get the evidence and they say, well, a witness was coached into saying this stuff. A witness was
right. Happens all the time.
And they didn't found his DNA was found somewhere else and so forth. Yeah, it happens all the time.
And then here's the thing too. Jonathan Majors actually called the police.
Correct. He called the paramedics, but the police came.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he called and reported it. And so it's just all crazy. It just seems like he was railroaded as far as I'm concerned. But, what do you do? Because this is the United States. And I have said before the same thing you said. Anytime it is a Karen and then a black masculine man, well, they're going to always 9 times out of 10 be found guilty. No matter what the evidence seems to show. That's how it seems to me. Right. So anyway, somebody says that Crazy Beach area says she did a Lynn Whitfield. It's a thin line between love and hate. Yep, absolutely. Miss Hotel said they did him wrong. Yeah, they absolutely did. So now here's the thing. I wanted to ask you, Gavin. Your attorney friend, I believe his name, because I was on your live with him when you had him on there. Attorney Mesero, isn't that his name?
Mesero, yeah.
Right. So he was Michael Jackson and Bill Cosby's attorney. Am I right?
You're right.
Okay. I was just checking.
Right.
So anyway, this is all just real crazy at the end of the day. What do you think about all this stuff going on with Diddy? Don't even get me started on you today, Gavin.
You get me started on you. I don't know any. Well, I know he's been sued again. I think they got another lawsuit. He's had like 4. They've had more piling on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some really nefarious things have come out. So did you hear anything about the underground church and the stuff that was supposed to be in Kim Porter's book?
I have not heard about that. I do know, not specifically, I do know that there are other lawsuits against him.
Mm-hmm.
I know people have given their opinions about it and said things on him. But what I will say is this, just like when anybody that's accused, he's innocent till proven guilty. I've seen lawsuits filed, but I haven't seen any criminal charges as of yet.
Right. Now, at the end of the day, that's what I'm waiting on, some criminal charges. Okay, that's what I'm waiting on, criminal charges. So far, haven't heard anything, but Cassie's friend, Tiffany Red, who was a songwriter, she did come out and corroborate what Cassie was saying for one of the incidents, at least, saying that she saw him being abusive to Cassie and all of that stuff on Cassie's 29th birthday or whatever. There was a news, I reported this like a week ago, but there was a news report about it yesterday as well. It was on the, I can't remember which media outlet it was, but she did an interview with the news on yesterday. And I talked about that on live. So she did corroborate it. And then some of his former bodyguards, former songwriter for Bad Boy, Mark Curry, all of them have said quite a few things.
I've seen that, yeah, Gene, the Gene dude that gets on there. But again, yeah, they've said that. But like I said, there's been no criminal complaint still filed on him. So,
right.
I mean, yeah, could some of it be true? Could he have been abusive? Possibly, yeah. The abuse does happen.
Now, here's my question, Gavin. So, when all of these allegations came out against Bill Cosby, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then they filed criminal charges. Now, how long did it take for them to file those criminal charges after all of these accusations flew?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. And I talk about that in my book. That's directly in my book, The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby. Mm-hmm. That's on Amazon Kindle. I got to plug it in.
Yeah, you all buy Gavin's book. It's really good. I bought your book when it first came out.
Thank you, on Kindle. But, well, here was the thing. First and foremost, there should have been no charges against Bill Cosby because the prosecutor originally, Bruce Castor, he was Trump's attorney, for those that remember. Mm-hmm. Before that, he was a prosecutor of Montgomery County. He said he did not believe there was enough evidence to secure a conviction because he felt there were holes in Andrea Constand's story and her credibility would have been attacked, which it was. Mm-hmm. So he made an agreement not to prosecute him. All right. That was in 2000. I want to say 2004. The case got settled in like 05, 06. A new prosecutor, almost 9 years later, comes in. He runs a campaign. Kevin Steele is the prosecutor's name. He runs a campaign saying that if you get me elected, I'm going to lock Bill Cosby up, which I think was problematic in the first place because as prosecutors, you cannot run. Especially we have to, as attorneys, we have to be very careful with our words and our advertising. You can't promise to lock one person up. You can talk about locking up rapists, muggers, murderers. Yes, you can say that. But when you mention somebody by name, that's a problem.
Right.
We waited until the week before a couple of days before New Year's, in which to file this lawsuit. All right. So, and according to Tom Mesereau, because I had him on my show, they actually had a statute of limitations defense against Andrea Constant because she kept giving inconsistent dates. And I even spoke to his private investigator as well, who verified this. If the alleged wrongful act had occurred in 2000, let's say 3 or 2002, then the statute of limitation, I believe, expired in like 10 years. So what they did was, ladies and gentlemen, are you saying, Gavin, that they brought a suit that was prescribed, a criminal complaint? Yes. They brought a criminal complaint against Bill Cosby when it was prescribed, or close to being prescribed. But the thing is, and why the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania overturned it, was because it should have never gone to trial in the first place, based off the fact that this prosecutor gave Bill Cosby essentially immunity and he relied on his detriment to that. And by immunity, she filed a lawsuit. He gets a subpoena to testify in a deposition. You can't ignore that under penalty of law. You could be found in contempt. So he had to go and give testimony that incriminated him. Now, if you read the deposition, and I have it in the book, you'll see that he doesn't admit to raping or molesting anybody. Bill Cosby was never charged with rape. Bill Cosby was charged with an assault. Same thing with Tupac. Tupac went to jail for what they said was
forcefully touching,
groping, essentially.
Right.
And he went to jail for that. He was not convicted for raping anybody.
Gavin, if you don't stop saying that R word and call it the R word, but continue.
Well, I mean, that's the legal term of it. I'm sorry, but
I know, but we don't say that on YouTube. Or at least I try not to. But continue.
He wasn't accused of SA.
Right.
Better? All right. He wasn't accused of that. Convicted of that, I should say.
Right. But many people mistakenly thought that he was. Another thing interesting is that, they shouted to the rooftops when Michael Jackson was accused, but they whispered, when he was acquitted at the end of the day.
Well, very interesting. Tom and I spoke about that too. Berry Gordy, after the trial, do you know that Tom Mesereau had dinner with Berry Gordy, owner of Motown Records? He treated him, and he said, "You know what you just did?" It's like, "No, what do you mean?" He said, "You just cost ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox $1 billion." It's like, "Why do you say that?" He said, "Don't you know how much money they would have made in advertisements by doing a Michael Jackson watch every 30 minutes, every hour?" The most popular entertainer in the world.
Right.
In prison. They were going to do prison watch on him every day. And people would have tuned in to watch it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So this is all crazy. Well, with that all being said, I guess I'm going to conclude this. Gavin, do you have anything else you want to plug? Say your book again. Tell everybody where they can find it for those who haven't read it.
On Amazon Kindle, you can purchase The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in the United States. You can get that book. And Queen, I thank you for having me on your show. I don't know if any of your guests celebrate the holidays, but I still say happy holidays to everyone, and even season's greetings to you, Queen. So
thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Now listen, Gavin, I need you to do me a big favor, and I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you right here on this live.
What's that?
I need you to get your friend Sean, who was on your show last night, because I tuned in. So I need you to get me Sean's information, or get him my information, because I have a job for him. I need him to edit 2 books of mine. They're already completed, and I've been looking for an editor. And I know that he edited your book, and he did a good job. So I need him to edit my books as well.
Sure, I'll do that for you right after this.
Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you.
Okay, one more thing, Queen, if I can point out too, I do have a book outside of the book, I also have a Christmas song that I wrote on iTunes that everybody can get. Be My Baby for Christmas. And if I could share the link with you and put it in the chat.
Sure. Go ahead.
I actually sent it to you last night. I don't know if you actually had a chance to listen to it, but
I did, but I will be listening to it as soon as I get off of here, honey. Thank you.
thank you very much. Yeah. So I will definitely get that information to you about Sean. So
Okay, thanks. And tell everybody your YouTube channel, because some of them don't know. You've been on here a myriad of times, but some of them are new to the channel.
channel G Boot 2. YouTube has me on a shadow ban, but channel G Boot 2786, as well as my backup channel Gavin Richard. I do a live stream every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday.
All right. There you have it, folks. And just a reminder to those of you who are subscribed to my main channel, the original QueenAShakur show, I will be back on that channel on Monday. I believe that's when my strike is over. All right. So that all being said, just put the link in the chat, Gavin.
All right, I'm doing that actually right now.
Okay. Kenyatta said, great discussion with Gavin. Thank you, beloved. Sandra said, all right, Mr. Gavin can sing. Too awesome. Okay, that Crazy Rich Era said, thank you, Queen and Gavin. Miss Hotel says, great show, Queen. I love this. All right, so I'm glad y'all have it. This is y'all's Christmas present, whether you celebrate or not. And I guess my Christmas present from ScrewTube is to be back on the channel.
Queen, what YouTube channel is it? The Real Queen of Receipts I gotta go to?
Oh, you mean to put it in the chat?
Yeah.
No, we're on the QueenAShakur TV show. This is the backup channel. Timber Dan says, please have Gavin on more often. I sure will. That Crazy Beach Area says, Merry Christmas. All right, family.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, and let me remind you guys that are members of my higher frequency membership on the spiritual channel, Queen Amadai TV, More Than Meets the Third Eye. Don't forget that your free masterclass is today. Okay, I think I'm going to do it around 4 o'clock. Queen Sam said, Wig 2.0, this is how you get real legal knowledge out. Okay. Now, like I said, watch her try to have an attorney on her show next, because she does everything the Queen does. Please pay attention.
Oh, Queen, you had wanted to talk about Christian Keys. You didn't get a chance to.
Oh, yes. Okay, so Christian Keys. Now, here's the thing. You know, people were saying all this crazy stuff about him after he came out, talking about what happened to him and everything. But he actually has said this all before. Months ago, he talked about it. He didn't really do like an Instagram like he did, go into thorough details, but he did mention it. And I was just basically saying that because he was traumatized as a child, because I've known this for years, that probably was why he was still, working with this person or still dealing with this person. And because people who are abused as children tend to be more forgiving and, things like that. So my question was, basically, I was just wondering what your thoughts were on how all these people were attacking him. Because to me, when you attack and shame and blame the victim, whether it's a male or female, that is, of course, it's problematic. But I think that's also why a lot of men don't come forward. I mean, look how they did Terry Crews back in the day when he came out. And then Terry Crews, I didn't even know this till days ago, that he actually filed criminal charges, but the judge threw it out. I didn't even know
Threw it
that.
out because it was past the statute of limitations.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now with that all being said, Christian was talking about going to the police.
Right.
But he said that it was past the statute of limitations too.
Right. Well, I think the reason why people like, if we talk about Terry Crews, because Terry Crews is a big man, a football player, and could kill a guy. And apparently, just by listening to his statements, especially that I said, he said that this man had grabbed him, his McNuggets, for like, he said it was going on for minutes. So, and he did it in front of his wife. So it just like, why you didn't knock the guy out would have been the logical choice. But because he's, he would have done it. He could have done it, and he would have been found not guilty for it. But Hollywood is a weird place, Christian Keys, I think the reason why people were shocked with that was because I was just looking. Christian Keys is 45, 46. He didn't say that this happened when he was a child. He said this was happened while he was an adult. Am I understanding that correctly?
Mm-hmm.
But was he a victim of assault when he was a kid? Or I didn't understand.
Well, he was abused as a child. I do
Okay.
know that. I mean, hitting the head with a hammer, all kinds of things happened to him that I'm sure were very traumatizing. So what I'm saying is when someone is abused and traumatized as a child, sometimes they carry those things into their adulthood and it affects the way they deal with certain things. So while people were saying, oh, he was a grown man, he should have done this, he should have done that. At the end of the day, no one can say how anyone should respond or react, but the understanding from many people didn't seem to get that because of what he likely went through as a child may have had a whole lot of bearing on how he dealt with the situation.
And that may be true because psychologically that can affect you. I get that. I think the thing though that other people are saying is that if you're saying this happened to you, where you got to mention something to the police or give some names, because when we hear these stories often that we keep hearing over and over again, and there are no names being dropped, well, it's nothing I can do about it. And to many people, it sounds like you're clout chasing. Now, they tried to say Tyler Perry was the guy he was talking about. I don't know that for a fact. And I think Tyler Perry has chimed in on it. And Christian, my understanding, they tried to say Tyler Perry made a comment and Christian supposedly liked it.
No, that wasn't Tyler Perry's comment. That was someone else's comment. Someone said that they didn't believe it was Tyler Perry, and Christian liked the comment. And then people said, oh, he just cleared Tyler Perry. He just confirmed that it wasn't Tyler Perry. And then Christian posted and said, I didn't confirm that it wasn't anyone. And then yesterday I reported on it because Christian said all these people were making hateful and ignorant comments. He said he hopes that none of them ever have to go through what he went through. And he said that the funny thing is you all have been saying this person's name in the comments, which just basically lets him know how many people know. Okay. And so with that all being said, it is who everybody thought it was at the end of the day. Well, all right. And the only thing Tyler Perry said, as far as I remember, is him posting a picture of a vulture talking about something about when the vultures come or whatever. But at the end of the day, hey, listen, I've heard a few other things or too. I'm not going to get into all of it, but at the end of the day, here was my thing, Gavin. When people were going in on this man, whether they thought he was clout chasing or not, I don't know how they would think that's a clout chase, because what adult man wants to come out and admit that somebody tried those things with them and that they didn't punch him in the face or do anything? That's for number one. But for number two, here's the thing that people should be mindful of. When people tell their story, it is their story to tell. And who are we to say when they have to come out and say who it is? You see, the reason many people wanted him to say it is because a lot of people just wanted the juicy gossip. And a lot of people who are content creators just wanted to be able to report on it for clicks and views. At the end of the day, that's why a lot of them were speculated and all of that. Now, even though I knew from the get-go who he was talking about, because I actually met Christian, like I told everybody, in 2005 when he was working on a production called All Men Can't Be Dogs, and with TJ Hemphill. And Mr. Perry was, I believe, in the audience. So with that all being said, when people were making all of these allegations and insinuations and saying, oh, it's a money grab and this, that, and third, well, he clearly said it wasn't about money. And if he was so money hungry, why wouldn't he have taken that $100,000 that the person offered him to strip naked? At the end of the day, you know, my thing is people just don't have any respect or empathy for victims. More people are concerned about themselves, what they want to know, and they want people to give them the information right then and there. That's just my opinion. And I find it to be all, quite frankly, nefarious.
Well, I don't know Christian Keys, and if that did happen, but I can say this, you know, even though I've tried to make it in this medium that we call, they call it Hollywood, but in entertainment field, like we talked about before, the casting couch applies to men and women.
That's right. It absolutely does.
And I can tell you this, there are some people who will do some things that they later on may come and regret just so they could get a piece of fame and fortune. I can say Gavin Richard will not ever bend over unless he's trying to tie his shoes.
Have several seats, Gavin.
And anybody if a man ever came on to me like that, like the comedian Earthquake once said, if I took somebody home and this person has the same parts as me, we both.
Okay, stop right there. Stop right there.
Somebody's
Stop right there. Stop right there. I've heard enough. Okay, so that I've been said, Gavin, did you drop the link to your Christmas jingle?
I did drop the link to it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is in the chat.
Okay, so I'll play it on the live tomorrow.
All right, play it on the live. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you, beloved. So with that all being said, everyone enjoy the rest of this lovely day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Queen and Gavin Richard out. Peace.
Peace, family. Thank you. Happy holidays again.
Thank you.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now.
That's
See
right.
a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy.
Real slick.
I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no